There we go. Now you should. Always something, it seems. All right. Hmm. Welcome, 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 dear ones. Today is the 30th, and it's Thursday, and tomorrow is the big gig, and we're gonna get a chance to have some fun, a lot of fun tomorrow. But I thought I'd start today's show with a little bit of a reminder of our mission and vision for the New Thought Media Network and New Thought Radio. Our vision, inspiring humanity to live a more loving, peaceful, and positive life. And our mission is sharing a vibration of love, positivity, and empowerment through a variety of media streams. So I'm glad you're here with us this morning. There's Laura Lee checking in. Good morning. Good morning. Ursula said good morning a little earlier. Good to see you here as well, Ursula. So the idea is that there's nothing I know more powerful in creating the conditions that I desire in my life than spiritual mind treatment. Also call that prayer. And I don't do this every morning, but today it feels about right. Spiritual mind treatment is a very specific process developed by religious scientists, first identified, let's say, by Ernest Holmes. And yet there's a lot of people that have had a lot of influence on this process over the years. And there's all kinds of debate about what's the right thing to say and what's the right order and how much to say and all that. And somewhere along the line, I personally realized that it isn't me saying any of this anyway. It sounds like my voice. There's things that my mind uses to remind my soul and my consciousness of a greater truth. Or maybe it's the other way around. My soul's reminding my mind of a greater truth. The point is, we open up to a greater truth. I may not always know what it is that's happening, but I know that it's always, always, always God. No question in my mind, this one thing. So, prayer, spiritual mind treatment, is just an opportunity to remind myself of the absolute truth. And along the way, if some of that serves and supports you and reminds you as well, hey, great. I'm reminded of everybody's got their favorite an acronym for fear, uh, you know, and for me, all that fear means is that I have forgotten to empower absolute reality. Forgetting to empower absolute reality. And when I do that, then I experience human fear. However, when I can recognize that, hey, there's this human fear showing up, then I can turn and remember to turn to God, to turn to the one, and to recognize that there is an absolute reality where nothing is broken, nothing is missing, everything is perfect, everything's happening just as it must. And I can activate that in my life. I can live in that state of consciousness without turning towards the fear, without turning towards the human reality, if you will. So I think it's about time for a prayer here. I can feel that within me. If you're in a safe and comfortable place and feel okay to relax and lie back or kick back or close your eyes or whatever that might be, please do. And as I speak today, you may hear a mix of language. Please allow these words to be your own. Allow these words to reverberate and vibrate within you. For it is here that I come to know the one. In this moment, I set aside what I've already done this morning. I set aside what I still have to do this day. And I make this moment holy. I make this moment sacred simply by saying yes to turning within, simply by saying yes to being still, simply yes by showing up. And so I show up this morning with an open heart, with an open mind, coming to recognize the One, to recognize God as source and supply, as the never-ending wellspring of love and light and beauty, truth and health, health and wealth and well-being, abundance, prosperity. This one life, this allness, this isness is flowing through my life, flowing through the lives of everyone that hears these words. That one life is flowing through the furry creatures and the scaly creatures, all the creatures of the planet and beyond. That the One reveals itself magnificently, perfectly through all of its creation. And so that means that God must be showing up and expressing as my life perfectly, whole, complete, nothing missing, nothing absent. And as I know that truth of my life, I know that must be true of all life. So I recognize that truth of the lives of each one that hears these words right now, in this moment, live here on Facebook. And those that hear these words later at another time on a recording, or however it is, wherever it is, I know there is only that one, and I claim for each the remembrance that each one of us exists as part of that one. This is God's heart beating. These are God's hands doing the work. And so as I know that there is nowhere God is not, I know that God must be present in every aspect of what's happening across this planet and beyond. That God is present in the politics, that God is present in the activism, that God is present in the doctors and the orderlies and the nurses, that God is present in the grocery workers and the truck drivers, that God is present in all the various office workers that are either at home or in building, at display, whatever is the experience, whatever the human is moving through. It's truly tiny, tiny matters within the heart and the mind and the expanse of God. For God is the entire universe and beyond. So in the body of God, in the allness of God, planet Earth is a piece of the puzzle. It is a cell amongst the organism, and it is moving through a time of healing right now. And what's more appropriate for a healing than a time of rest and respite? A time to reframe and reevaluate, a time to reformulate and reflect. A great and glorious time of healing is upon us. There's no change in that. And the experience becomes, do I embrace the change? Do I embrace the healing and support that? Or do I push against it? Because at the human level, each retains that opportunity of choice. Each one of us right now creating our own world, moment by moment, choice by choice, belief by belief. And so I know that right now, humanity, while it is in a great place of change and perhaps suffering, the light still shines brightly. The source is never diminished, never depleted. The source, the oneness of everything, is absolutely forever abundant. And though the clouds may be dark and dreary outside the window, the sun still shines, and the sun never lets up. God still provides, and God never lets up. That one creative force is forever creating a new expression of itself through our hands, through our voices, through our words. The one recreating itself through a pandemic. One recreating itself by letting go of old systems and old belief patterns and old styles of business and organization and politics, and replacing that with something new, something evolved, something beyond what may even be possibly humanly known right now. The one forever recreating itself, and we stand witness to it right here, right now, in the midst of one of the most memorable historic events of my life. We each get to stand witness to the experience and then choose. Shall I see the darkness? Shall I allow the clouds to obscure my sight? Or shall I look to the light and look to the clarity and look to the truth? Shall I huddle and hide in fear, forgetting to empower that absolute reality of truth? Or do I stand in that sense of empowerment, recognizing the absolute truth, embracing that big truth, embracing the truth of God's life, that there is nothing wrong, nothing broken, nothing absent, nothing missing? Everything necessary on the planet at this time is already here. Everything necessary to transcend this human lockdown, everything necessary to transcend the human fear, everything necessary to heal the human body. It's all here right now. And I know even right now, there are great minds, great, glorious expressions of God working on vaccines and ways to alleviate symptoms and ways to identify those that have been touched by this and those that are clean of this, that are clear of this. There is so much of God's creativity pouring into the new, the next. This is a great and a glorious evolutionary leap, and we are in the midst of it. We have left the moorings and the solid ground of the old. We are floating in midair on a trajectory towards something we have never known, and yet God promises is so much better. A world that works for everyone, a world where humanity is awakened to its spiritual magnificence, a world where compassion and love is the norm, where we are awakened to our unity, and collectively the bodies, the humans, the planet Earth expresses that unity, where we no longer see the human illusion of negativity and division, of suffering and strife. We leave all of that behind and we leap. In fact, the leap has already begun, and there are those that are not making the leap and those that are, and that's all good too. Because what I know is happening is I know there is no end to God's life. There are different and unique dimensions of livingness, degrees of livingness, and dimensions of livingness. And there are so many dear souls right now leaving this plane and moving into a new dimension, moving into a new degree of livingness. And I trust they are paving the way for this grand and glorious change that is upon us, making the way easier for all those that stay behind, that stay here. I don't know what it looks like in the human level, but on the absolute, I know that God's got it. And so I know that this must be a glorious rebirth, a glorious change, a glorious evolution. For we are each here expressing God's glory. And God's glory reveals itself here and now. And I am grateful in this moment to be present to what's happening, to be a part of it all, to be witness to it, to be a voice in it. Most especially grateful to know that it is not I doing this work, it is God. And that one, that power, presence, and intelligence that rules all, that controls all, that manifests all, that creates all, is on the job. God's got this. So I get out of the way. I release the word into the law that must and in fact has already said yes, that is already demonstrating the truth of this spoken word. And I let it be. Knowing it with a full and grateful heart that all is well, I let go, I release, and I let it be. I let God be God. And so it is. And so, and so, and so it is. Thank you, dear ones, for being with us this morning. Now, tomorrow, we'll do evening prayers tonight at 8:15 Mountain Time. However, we're not doing morning prayers tomorrow at the normal time. Tomorrow's a whole different ball game, a whole different format. I will start live streaming at 8 a.m. Mountain Time. Yes, there will be prayer somewhere around 8:15. There's going to be all kinds of prayers. Ernest Holmes, a recording of Ernest Holmes is going to get us kicked off at 8 o'clock. So if you're normally with me in the morning, just plan now, make an effort, be here a little bit earlier. We're going to get started with an invocation by Ernest Holmes. And from there, it's music and prayer and ministers and messages and all kinds of fun, great, and glorious stuff. It promises to be a really, really fun day. So I hope you get a chance to check some of it out with us. You can still learn just a little bit more, MaydayMarathon2020.gr8.com. And but if you're here tuned in, this is where you want to be. So just tune on in at any time tomorrow, wherever you normally find this broadcast, and I'll be here. The other thing I do want to remind you about is after a full day like this, we're going to need, for me at least, I'm going to need a little time to wind down. So I'm doing a meditation mini retreat Saturday morning at 9 a.m. It's a 3-hour experience. Really great. I love it every time I do it. I get something out of it. And the people that join me on this journey always tell me they've gotten great things out of it. So based on a love offering, if you've got something you can share, please do. If not, then don't worry about it. Just jump over to that address there, meditationminiretreat.gr8.com, and let me know that you want to join. Email, get you the information, and I'll be with you on Saturday morning. So that's about all I've got. Other than a whole ton of work to do today. Today's a fun day. I get to do sound checks with all the artists and hang out and play with them and make sure that they're ready for tomorrow. So I'm out of here, folks. I love you. Have a great day. We'll see you tonight, 8:15 Mountain, for evening prayers. Until then, peace and blessings. Bye now.